saucer with some bombs attached. My biggest suspicion is that the Star Trek scenario, being a lovely science fiction for all the children and even adults on the planet, has been a 9-to-5 working business day reality for a small elite number of military and Illuminati scientists and officers. All of these projects are privately owned and controlled. They are way above and beyond the reach of government. The president, even the president, doesn't have high enough security clearance to go into these bases. These are private underground bases. You can't even trespass. It's the laws observing the rights of privacy in this country. They have private militias, I mean, whatever, private police forces. Billy Meyer mentioned that in '75 there was a terrestrial force that was government that was building 150-meter diameter, 450, about 500 feet diameter nuclear-powered craft that fit quite well the Star Trek first-generation craft. I examined in great detail the main propulsion unit description from a Starfleet technical manual, which astonished me with its great engineering detail. I said, who the hell would spend so much time doing such a detailed engineering description of a film, basically of a fictional film, if these were not simplified drawings of real engineering creations? And the astonishing thing was that this engine works exactly in the same way as the engine of an interstellar alien craft that is described in the metaphysical work Tales of Beelzebub to His Grandson, written by Gurdjieff. The first volume of his, the second volume of his trilogy, Meetings with Remarkable Men. In this book, Beelzebub, a real character and a member of the Lucifer Rebellion, comes to the planet on inspection, and he talks to his grandson, explaining how the drives of the craft work. Basically the same principle as the drives of the Star Trek fleet. The names of the Star Trek fleet carry a lot of symbology, a lot of names from the Luciferian Empire. Not a strange coincidence either. The new generation, much more advanced Star Trek ships are probably the ships that were built in the 80s and 90s around the orbits of Saturn and Jupiter, way out of reach of our terrestrial astronomy, by the Rockefeller Foundation. I was told that the Rockefeller Foundation donated some of these ships to the government, to the poor boys of the government, because all the money is with the private bankers anyway. And as a token of gratitude, the moon base was christened the Rockefeller base. How touching indeed. I'm deeply convinced that what we see on Star Trek is and has been a reality for half a century. Star Trek, the technical manual. The search for real ETs, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, and the Puzzle Palace, the NSA. The rumor is that the NSA, the National Security Agency, was created to snoop on extraterrestrial communication trunk lines that run on gravity waves. And they have been doing that for half a century. Not only they have discovered aliens, not only they've been in contact with aliens for more than several centuries, but they have been snooping their communications. Still, for the public, they would like to spend $200 million for the new SETI project to discover a faint bleep coming from probably another Starfleet, Star Trek ship, somewhere in orbit around Jupiter or something. Another of the big hoax is going on. Close encounters of the sleazy kind, close encounters of the politically correct kind. The Galbraith's contactee case, in my opinion, is the preparation for the American public for the upcoming contact with the little grays that develops pretty much along the scenario of the Billy Meyer contact as it developed through time. But unlike the Pleiadians that the government officially doesn't like, although we said earlier that philosophically. They are on the same side of the divider line, on the Luciferian side of the divider line. But still, the thesis and the antithesis fighting each other, and regardless of the fact whoever wins, they both would serve the same master. Anyway, the little grays are prepared to be probably the race that would establish the first official media contact with photo opportunities for the world press. And the Gulf breeze encounters have been a preparation for that. The New World Order and the coming evacuation of many people on the planet have been widely discussed in the literature. Back to the tabloid literature, not only space flights, but time experiments, travel in time, have been on the agenda of the Illuminati for half a century. According to Albilic, all the nuclear-powered carriers of the American fleet have the Philadelphia time travel technology, and so do even small aircrafts. So no wonder that an aircraft can easily, with a flip of a switch, end up flying over the battlefields of the Civil War or back in time. Space aliens are stealing our kids. Is it the space aliens, or is it somebody else behind them? Patient vanishes into thin air, or is it the beginning of a teleportation process? The Philadelphia experiment tells us that the government had this technology working on it since the 1930s and developed it to perfection in the early 50s. Teleportation, abduction, time travel. Geniuses like Tesla developed most of the things that were the Philadelphia technology. Helga Morrow, with the story of her life story of her father, confirms everything Albilic has been claiming, that the government has the capability to teleport its operatives to other planets. They can even bypass the saucer travel capabilities of the Star Trek command and directly teleport the most important officials. Why would they waste their time shipping them by saucers when they can teleport them directly? In the Montauk project, Preston Nichols, the author, claims that they were teleported to the moon, to the inside of moon, to Mars, and to the inside of Mars, together with Albilic. And so claims Helga Morrow about her father. He was also teleported on secret government work to the underground projects of Mars. The Time Machine novel by H.G. Wells is probably a revelation of a secret Illuminati and the first Illuminati time machine project that was run in the early 20th century. Much later it was repeated in Nazi Germany or in Tesla's America in the 30s and 40s. Creation of artificial diseases, AIDS, and many other strains of biological weapons for population control has been long on the government agenda. Many interesting books on biological warfare over the unsuspecting population in this country. What we are taught in school, in the public moralizing and debilitating schooling system of America, has nothing to do with the secret schools of the Illuminati, where in ratio of 1 student to 1 teacher, they study the secret sciences of chemistry, which for them is a repeatable, predictable science, walking through walls, paranormology, telepathy, and all the other things that are viciously and vigorously debunked by the Illuminati-controlled physical and other scientific royal societies, to the Illuminati-controlled academia and media. Mind control? They probably have more than 100 different technologies of accessing your hard drive and manipulating the files on it any way they want. Deleting, adding, changing, updating, and so on. But it is not saucer travel through anti-gravity. It is not interplanetary travel through teleportation. It is not interstellar travel through the time tunnel as depicted in the Montauk Project book by Preston Nichols.